One day, while visiting his old village, Kofi stood before his childhood hut. It was still there, cracked and broken, a reminder of where it began. He walked inside and touched the mud walls with tears in his eyes. From this place of hunger, a dream was born. And now that dream had changed millions of lives. He whispered to himself, "This is where I found my strength." The hut was no longer a prison, it was his crown. Kofi's story spread across schools, inspiring the next generation. Teachers told students about the boy who became a billionaire. Children repeated his name with awe and hope. To them, he was proof that greatness could rise from anywhere. He showed that poverty was not destiny, but a chapter. Every child who listened felt a fire of possibility, and every community felt prouder of its roots. At 40, Kofi reached billionaire status. But to him, the money was never the victory. The real wealth was in lives uplifted, schools built, and villages lit. He became a global symbol of possibility, like Mandela and Gates. His businesses spanned food, energy, and education. He was more than rich, he was a force of transformation. The boy from the hut had become a legend. Looking back, Kofi often said, "I am not self-made. I am village-made." He carried his people in every step of his journey. For every coin he earned, he gave a portion back. His life became proof that wealth and kindness can coexist. From a barefoot boy to a man of billions, his story became immortal. And even after his time, generations would remember his name. Because true legacy is not in riches, but in impact. Kofi launched an online platform connecting farmers directly to global buyers. With one click, a farmer in a small village could sell to a supermarket abroad. This digital bridge erased borders and brought prosperity home. Young tech graduates joined his mission, creating jobs for thousands. For the first time, rural Africa stood tall in the global market. Kofi believed technology was the new liberation tool, and he made sure no one was left behind in its rise. His empire grew into a multinational company with offices worldwide. Skyscrapers carried his company's name, but his heart remained in the villages. In boardrooms, he spoke the same honesty he learned in the market. Investors admired his balance of wisdom and humility. He had mastered the art of growing rich without losing his soul. The world saw him as a rare kind of billionaire, a man whose success lifted others with him. But even giants face storms. A global recession struck, threatening to collapse his empire. Markets crashed, investors panicked, and competitors mocked. For a moment, it seemed the dream might shatter. But Kofi remained calm, reminding his team of their mission. "Money comes and goes, but people's trust stays," he said. And with that belief, he rebuilt stronger than ever. Kofi used the crisis as fuel for innovation. He launched new products, created affordable microloans for farmers, and expanded into healthcare. Communities once forgotten now had hospitals and medicines. His empire no longer only fed bodies, it healed them. He proved that wealth was not measured in profit, but in lives saved. From hardship rose an even greater legacy. The storm had only refined his fire. As he traveled the world, leaders sought his wisdom. From the United Nations to universities, he shared his journey. He told them, "Greatness is not born in palaces, it is born in huts." Crowds stood in silence, absorbing every word. They saw in him not just a businessman, but a teacher. His story was no longer his alone, it belonged to humanity. And his lessons echoed far beyond borders. Kofi never forgot the children who still walked barefoot to school. He built thousands of libraries filled with books he once longed for. In each library, his story was written on the first page. So every child would know that dreams can rise from dust. Generations of young readers discovered hope within those walls. His wealth had built more than buildings, it built futures. And in those futures, his spirit would live forever. At 50, his net worth passed $10 billion. But he wore the same humility he had at 10 years old. Reporters asked, "What does wealth mean to you?" He smiled and replied, "Wealth is a tool, not a throne." To him, money was only useful when it lifted others. He was rich in billions, but richer in humanity. That was the crown he chose to wear. Kofi launched a foundation to fight poverty worldwide. His model of honesty and hard work spread across continents. He mentored young leaders, planting seeds in distant lands. Soon, his name became a global symbol of transformation. From Africa to Asia, from Europe to the Americas, his light shone. He had proven that one life could ripple into millions. The Hut-born boy had become a world citizen. As age softened his steps, he began writing his memoir. Each page carried lessons from hunger, hope, and triumph. He wanted the next generation to see his failures, not just his victories. For he believed true wisdom comes from scars. Readers across the world devoured his book with awe. It became a guide for dreamers in every corner. And his story became immortal in ink. When Kofi finally left this world, millions mourned, but billions remembered. His legacy was not his wealth, but the lives he touched. From the hut where he began to the skyscrapers he built, his story lived on. He proved that poverty is not a curse, but a challenge. He showed that integrity is more powerful than gold. And his life whispered to the world, greatness can rise from anywhere. The barefoot boy from a hut had become eternal.